I am recording this session, so sorry. It is now recorded. Hey, Christina Scott. Welcome to the Rural and Small Town SIG meeting. As we are talking a little bit about, we need your help. I am one of the leads, and I would love to have someone join on with me. It is a 2-year role. I started last year, so I have one more year in this role. But what are the expectations? So the work-life balance. I can say I could spend a little less time with a partner, but right now I spend about an hour or two a month just making sure I'm doing a little bit of research. And thankfully, even though I know my institution is in Atlanta, Georgia, there's nothing rural about it or small. However, my role within Georgia Tech is with rural initiatives and just making sure that I understand the landscape and what's happening within some of our rural populations, not only in the state of Georgia, but then also nationally. So, with that being said, I spend some time, thankfully, it rolls into my role. So, I spend some time just doing a little bit of research and some resources that I could send out to people, to constituents, family members, community-based organizations. But then also what we do is we meet 3 times a year as a collective group. And so we do have to spend a little bit of time as leads making sure we put the presentations together and we're getting you relevant information. Another goal of ours, though, I will say in the future is not only we have beefed it up. So in the past, if you've been part of SACAC, for a long time, you only met with SIG groups once a year, and that was at that annual conference. They have now beefed it up to where you have 2 times that you can meet with them so you can see several different SIG special interest groups. But not only that, they've charged us co-leads to do virtual visits. And those virtual visits that they have charged us with is to make sure that we can visit once, one time in the fall, one time in the spring. So just as a lead, you got to get those presentations. So you will be preparing at least 2 to 3 presentations a year. The other goal is to send out like a quarterly, monthly, or quarterly communications through SACAC, just giving resources of where can you find information, scholarships for your students or just for you in your community. And so those are some of the things that we're doing and would take up some of your time. Again, it's not that time intense. If you could just dedicate about an hour or two a month, then I think that and if you're just very passionate about your territory or about rural populations, if you're from a rural or a small town and you want to just get diving back into that, then this would be something that I would say you would be interested in. I ask that you will get this I will send it out. So this presentation will be sent out through the member relations team. But you can also, I don't even know if you could click in a presentation, but there, right there, you could click that link and or when it's sent out, click that link and be able to register to become a co-lead with me. Oh, let's keep going. So today's agenda, what we're going to do is just go over a couple of things. First thing we're going to go over is the disclaimer, graduation season. Then we're going to talk a little bit about NACAC updates. What did we do at the annual conference? Who are we? Resources. If we have some time, we'll do a little bit of collaboration, tell you how you could get involved, and just tell you thank you. So I will not run over an hour. I promise you that. And I will try to give you some time back to just stretch. But other than that, let's just go ahead and get started with this beautiful agenda. So, disclaimer, a lot of the research, I just want everybody can read that blankly, let you know like the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in these materials are those of the speakers and authors and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of SACAC or any of its board of directors. SACAC does not endorse, approve, nor assume responsibility for the content, accuracy, or completeness of the information presented. So if you don't agree with it, it's on Christina. Just want to let you know. All righty. Like I said, we made it. It's graduation season, and we have seen so many students over the years that we have been with this profession Students come in and then they graduate. One thing that is so great about this season is that we get to not only applaud those students and families that made it, but we applaud ourselves because we are doing the work as well. And we get to see that little flower blossom, that seed bloom, and we get to see them off to the next phase, whether you're passing them off to the workforce, the armed forces, post-secondary colleges or universities, or technical colleges or community colleges. What we are doing is we're just filtering these beautiful children as well as their family members into the next life of adulthood. And that's really, really great. And I just want to again say congratulations. We made it. Whew. Now, some NACAC updates, and he's in this meeting with us as well. But just to give you a heads up, there is a small and rural town, a rural and small town. I don't know why I keep saying that. Rural and small town SIG group within the larger body of our ACACs, which is NACAC, of course. And we have the leads there, which is Kim and Megan, and I connect with them just to get more information and they can tell me what's happening on their end and then bring it back to our SACAC side. And I tell them what we're doing on our side as well. And with that being said, we have our very own. He is the person that rolled off as a lead to go to bigger and better things, as in staying involved with rural and small town, but on a NACAC level. So Jeremy will be our plug. We will always be plugging into Jeremy Caston. He's at a secondary institution, Brookwood School in Thomasville, Georgia. But it is amazing that we have someone from SACAC serving on the rural and small town SIG group on a NACAC level. Woo,
It
yes,
doesn't,
another
just gotta
great
say, it
thing.
doesn't get bigger and better than being your co-lead. There is no bigger and better than Christina Scott. So,
Oh,
but I'm excited to represent the South, and y'all feel free to reach out if you aren't on the mailing list or you have any questions. But this is Christina's show, and she's rock. Thanks, Christina, and thanks for putting up a
thank
decent picture of me.
you. Welcome. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, he's so sweet. Okay, and also when it comes to getting involved, if you want to get involved, get engaged with NACAC, they have a website that you can sign up for, and get engaged not only with just this small SIG, but other areas that you could get engaged, whether it's the national college fairs that may come to a big city near you, or even in your backyard, or if you want to get engaged in other areas, you're more than welcome to do so. Again, work-life balance. I'm not trying to give you another thing on your plate, but I am saying at this moment, there are ways that we can be involved regionally as well as nationally. Woo-hoo. All righty, who are we? So when we're talking about SACAC, who are we comprised of? A lot of you know, just to go back over, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. I hope I didn't miss anyone. Did I miss anyone, everybody? I don't think so. Okay, yes. So with that being said, yes, we are who are we? What do we do? We're a diverse little SACAC. And when I thought about it, as you can see, I have all these beautiful pictures here. ChatGPT nor AI helped me make it a little bit beautiful. So please do not judge me for my artistic skills, okay? So I'm at tech. I do technical things. No joking, jokes. But either way it goes, when we're talking about things that we're great at and what makes up our populations, not only are we diverse in institutions and post-secondary options, but we have our rule looks different. It's not just one range of land. We have rural populations that are merged with the ocean or the Gulf, with bayous and deltas. We have rural populations that have marshlands or agricultural fields. We have mountains, or large hills, some people may say, but we have mountain ranges. So when we're talking about our rural population, we're talking about just so many differences geographically as well as the way we look. So We are diverse not only by culture, and we have a lot of culture here in our South. Like a lot of people like to think about the South and think about it in a negative way, but we actually are rich in culture. We're lively and festive. We hold the capital of country music. What else are we? We're the best in football. No one can tell me anything else. We are the best in football when it comes to, and just sports in general. They come down here just to see us. We're also the state, the ACAC that holds the most, what do you call it? The most different types of post-secondary institutions, and I'm talking about Hispanic serving institutions, minority serving institutions, and one of our states holds the most HBCUs. So when we're talking about just opportunities and richness of SACAC, what we're talking about is that we have that to spread it out amongst the nation, and they all want to come to us because we got good weather too. And they come to us because we do offer so many different things in diverse ways. So that is who we are. Now, at our recap meeting, let's talk a little bit. Oh, so sorry. When we're talking about our recap meeting, and I hope you were able to join us in New Orleans, Louisiana, this past March 2026. But if not, it's a-okay. I'm going to do a quick recap of what we talked about. So we talked about the state of rural. What is happening in rural populations? We talked about population growth, decline, and demographic changes. And a lot of people recognize that's what's happening in their areas. Whether some of our populations are growing, some of them are declining, and schools are getting smaller. Some of our schools are combining, so they're becoming now K through 12. Some of our schools are adding new schools because they're growing in populations. We all know Nathan Graw. If you haven't heard of that nice man, he has written two books talking a little bit about the agile college student and the demands of demographic changes, the demands of demographic cliff. Can't really remember the name, so sorry, but there are two books that talk a little bit about what's happening right now with birth rates and how students are picking their post-secondary options as in whole. Another thing that's happened is economic shifts and struggles. So we understand that automation is about happening. So AI, and how is that taking away some of our jobs? A lot of people look at me and say, Tech, is that you? That is not us. Come to one of our campus tours and we'll tell you how we're working together with human. We're not trying to erase them. And that's a lot of things that's happening out here. So factories closing, some are growing factories, adding new factories. What is happening in those economic areas? We also talked about one thing that plays a part in our areas is healthcare and infrastructure. I think some of the top demands that we're having in rural populations is going to be healthcare, of course. So, how many hospitals do you have? And if you do have a hospital, what are some of those services that you can get? Another thing we talked about is just band broad bandwidth. So when we're talking about Wi-Fi, we're talking about internet access. Do students actually have that access when they go home? Is it just at their school? So expanding that, that is another thing that we've talked about when we're talking about our rural state of rural. And then of course we talked a little bit about what is politics and policy trends. How does that change what's happening and what we're doing and how we're actually making impact in society and to our students and our families. Another thing we discussed is we did a little bit of diving. So a lot of us got to do some research about our states and what is in our state. What does look like in our state? One thing I challenge everyone to do is do some research and look up what was the largest by population rural population city or county within their state. We also talked about what is a major factory and or company in your state. So we talked a little bit about that and how could we try to collaborate and think of some ways that would help other students and our students and family members be able to reach out to those resources if they needed them. And so that is a brief. I mean, we had two different meetings at SACAC, and they were each an hour long. But that is a quick, brief overcap of what we talked about. I had great discussion, and hopefully, we'll get to see you at the next one in Mobile, Alabama. Now let's talk a little bit about when we're talking about resources and how do we help students and where are we helping them out. One thing we discussed was we discussed a little bit about how can we help our students and families. So one question that was posed is when it comes to college, when it comes to post-secondary opportunities as a whole, how are we helping those students get it? Are we coming to them? Are they coming to us? And what are some of the resources that are out there for those students? And so right here, I have a book, big hodgepodge, that shows some of those resources that are there for students and families, especially for schools that do not have the opportunity to have a guidance counselor to help a student just get to graduation, and then also to have a college counselor to help the student understand how to get to college and what college means. And so these are some of those tools we were talking about to help merge the two, because I know on both sides of the desk it can be a little bit frustrating when you have colleges calling constantly trying to get in, but you're also trying to balance testing, graduation, be in school, be in the classroom for so many hours, superintendents, principals, we get all the rules. So these are some of those options. Another person we just talked about him, Jeremy, but some of our rural areas don't even have what do we call it? A high school profile. And so when you're talking about a college, regardless if it is a highly selective or selective admission college, when you're talking about those colleges that say we do a holistic review and they want to take into consideration the academic piece of that review, if we don't have that high school profile, then we really do not have any context of what is happening at the school unless that school was able to send a counselor to see the area and see the school and talk to someone. However, Jeremy Caston, he has actually a very free and wonderful source for everyone where you get to actually create your own high school profile. Jeremy, and this is not a selling point, this is just a plug. But Jeremy, would you like to tell us a quick blurb about your company?
Yeah, I mean, like it really is free. It's just for any high school counselor that either doesn't have a school profile and wants to make one. It's a digital school profile that you can also download as a PDF. And then if you do have one and you find it a pain to update it, feel free to make one because you can just update it online every year and just easier to keep track of. So yeah, if you have any questions about it or whatever, feel free to email me. But thanks, Christina. I appreciate it. But it really is designed to help y'all. And so if you also work on it and you see an issue, like please tell me because it's a tool to help fellow counselors. So we keep making it better and it's going great so far. And hopefully we can help more high schools.
Thank you, thank you. And his school is SEO file, so it's a school profile, and this is the one that I'm circling with my mouse. That is the company that will help if your school does not have a high school profile. So of course, for the high school side, that you're able to do that. Another option is when schools are coming to colleges and universities are trying, and even the military, armed forces, when they're trying to come to your school to talk to your students, two sources that can help alleviate some of those calls and emails back and forth would be rep visits, which is under intersect, but rep visits and then also score. Score is linked up with Naviance, so if you do have any form of Naviance, you could use that as well. But that is, they have a side where you can actually set up tools to be able to allow counselors to see when are you allowing college visits. And with that, they can go in and tell you the date that they would like to come, and you can either accept it or decline it. But it just cuts back some of that back and forth of like, are you available this day? Are you available that day? Another great resource out there is Big Futures, and Big Futures is under College Board. They have great videos, social media that just talks a little bit about like planning for college. What is it like? Some great tips. Also, they have great search engine because we know we need to pay for college. So they have a great scholarship and search engine for scholarships on their website, and College Board again right next to them that also has those helps and tricks and tips. Now, these three in the middle, matriculate, one goal, and thrive scholars. When we're talking about matriculate, they have already partnered up with colleges and universities. Georgia Institute of Technology, also known as Georgia Tech, is one of those partners. But if you do not have a college counselor that is in your school, they have those resources where they're pairing up peer to peer. So they have already college students that they pair up with high school students starting your junior year to help you understand how to fill out that application, how to build your college list, but then also they help them figure out like the financial piece, like how to find money. They also help the students figure out how to write their essays, how to build that resume. So it gives them, again, that source of help, and it works with family members as well. That also does not take time from the student's school time, as well as strap the resources of the school. One goal is having forums and talking about how do we continue to bridge the gap between high schools and colleges. So another great way and resource for you to be able to go and speak to students when it comes to not students, excuse me, students and family members and communities. So your superintendents, your principals, and bring them all to this table when we're talking about what are some of the resources that are out there for our students and how are we bridging that gap. And then Thrive Scholars it's a summer program. It's a really fun way for juniors, rising juniors, to be able to go and visit other colleges. They get to stay on the campus. They take a couple of classes, but it is another resource for our students to be able to get out there and see different avenues that are just other avenues that are out there for colleges and universities. So these are some of those great working in areas. Now, I left this one last because it actually reflects us, which is STARS. And STARS College Network is Small Town and Rural Students College Network. And this is colleges have joined up together and we do presentations. We go across all of the country and do college fairs in small areas that students wouldn't mostly see some of these colleges. They also offer tips, college advice, but it is something that is geared specifically to us in small towns and rural populations. So definitely, please get on the mailing list for any of these and tell your students, hey, get on these. Tell your family members. Join these sources. They will help you as well. Now, when we're talking about waste, so you probably wonder, like, hey, Christina, where are you getting all this information from? And I'm like, hey, who knows? But this is where I get some of my information from. I just want to let you know, these are some of the areas that I am actually pulling data for our rural populations. So sometimes people ask me like, how did you come up with that? And I say I came up with it from this website. And it's a really cool website that I think everybody should really look at when they're talking about like what one fact I found out was that Arkansas, that 42% is up to 45% of Arkansas is rural populations. And that's like really, really cool. Versus Florida was only 9%, right? And so it's sort of like, okay, that's vastly different. And so when you're thinking about that, you're looking at, well, what does that mean that majority of your population is in this weird space, this space where they need resources, it's limited. I even saw one it was in Mississippi and it had a town that had less than 12 people and I was like, ooh, how do you get that? Where do you go? What do you do? So again, finding some of these resources to figure out how do you help those areas? How are we collecting it? And if you go to the Center on Rural Initiatives, they have a running dashboard where you're able to like plug in things that you're looking for and it'll give you the actual maps and tell you some of those data points that you were looking for. So that's another one that is really cool just using their dashboard. All right. Well, I'm at 30-minute mark. I think I'm doing good. Yes. Awesome. Now, this is the time that we're going to start collaboration. So I've done a lot of talking. I'm going to stop sharing really quickly. Come on, mouse. There you go. So that you can only see me. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? If you want to come off your cameras or mics, you can. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. But I really want us to really sit down really quickly. And first, we're gonna first talk about one thing, which is going to be collaboration, meaning when we think of a rural population and we look at a IEC, a post-secondary university, and a high school student, what are some of the things that we really think those areas need other than the college to come visit? Of course, we know that. We also understand funding is something that we need as well. Okay, we get that. But what do you think would be a tangible resource or opportunity that we could collaborate on to allow to help build something for our populations? I will give an example really quickly, which is something that I'm working on now, which is I would love to start a student voice for our rural towns. And so I would love to have a student board together where students from all over the not the country, we're going to do this just for SACAC right now, let's start small, but all over SACAC in the different cities, excuse me, in the different states, and we have them come together and just help us understand what they are battling on an everyday basis, being that they are Gen Alpha and Gen Beta as well, and they might be telling us something a little different. So that's what I mean by something that's a little bit more tangible that we can maybe do and operate versus others. Other things like financial, I can't, that's out of my wheelhouse. Another example that I would give is a junior shadow day. And a lot of people are like, what does that mean? And I always ask, what are your students doing during the summer? And is there a way that I could team them up with alumni of the universities that are in our areas that have companies or resources for a student to be able to go into that for like a week and be able to shadow and see what does it mean to be an industrial engineer? What does it mean to be a construction management manager? And what did you major in to get there? Do I have to be very specific or can I major in other things to get to that? Okay. All righty. Hi. All right. So I've thrown out two things to try to get those wheels running. What are some things that everyone else might have thought about? And if you see me looking around, I'm just getting a notepad because I want to take notes. Well, can I ask this question? Do you think the two ideas that I came with are good ideas? Let's start there.
Yes, they are good ideas. I really like connecting our students with students at the college level. Um, we've had some good success with having, through STARS and having some student representatives come into our campus. We are close to Georgia Tech, so we get to see like schools like Georgia Tech, but it's nice to have some students talk to other students because then they can hear, what the challenges were that those students faced and how they've handled them. And it takes away some of the fear of applying to college, and especially if they're, maybe some selective colleges, it takes away that fear by hearing other students.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm probably the weird duck out here. One, I sound Southern, so that's probably confusing a lot of y'all. So yeah, I'm from South Carolina, but I'm my school's in Missouri. So I represent the Southern states for my school. So that's why I'm here. The other thing, I've been big into the rural initiative, so I've been starting to go to rural schools and stuff like that. But anyway, my thing is, has anybody on here right now thought about doing like spotlights with students that are currently attending your college that are from rural areas that can probably spark up like, hey, yeah, I know that kid, or yeah, I was best friends with that kid's brother or something like that, or sister. So maybe doing some spotlights, like saying from the rural initiatives and stuff like that.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jason. Yes. So I can only speak on the behalf of tech. And Georgia Tech does do during our perspective and outreach season, we will do spotlights of our students, current Georgia Tech students, to those that are part of rural populations. But I thought that would be a great idea to add on to that student side where maybe SACAC would allow us. I know there's some weeds I would have to go through. One, get SACAC to approve it, but then two, I would have to make sure that I get some kind of legal form signed that the students are saying they're okay with us sharing their story. But I really like that idea, and I was hoping that we could do a monthly student spotlight of the different students across the SACAC states and U.S. territories, and be able to put that on social media and on just like an email when they send out the mass email that has all the stuff in it. That would be another highlight in there for our rural students. I don't know necessarily if that's working for SACAC, but I wanted something that would be more collaborative.
Right. No, I understand that. And just a side note, my grandfather went to Georgia Tech, so rambling wreck. Yeah. So yeah. So there you go. Yeah, small world. But yeah. So okay.
Go Jackets.
Christina,
Well,
the
I
okay, go ahead.
my granddad would not like my sport team. I'm a Georgia Bulldog, so I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's a-okay.
I was gonna follow up on what Christina was you were talking about the second part with the shadowing day. And I think, a lot of it. I'm not a plant for Christina, by the way. I know I've talked a lot, um but no, like I think at least in my area, I'm in very South Georgia. A lot of it is just opportunity things out there. Like my students don't have the ability to shadow at places that a student in Atlanta or even Macon could do. And so I think helping them plug in, whether it's through a university or something, just helping them figure out ways to creatively get opportunities. And then secondly, for the activities they do have, I think, again, I'm at a small independent school, so I'm able to help my students kind of highlight their strengths. But that new thing that Common App added this year about kind of family responsibilities, whatever that's called, I think a lot of my students don't realize, like, I'm like, you work on your parents' farm. That's a great example. You take care of your siblings. And that's not unique to rural students, but I do think it's probably proportionally higher at rural areas. And so just helping them understand ways for them, and I don't know what that looks like. That's for Christina to figure out. But just to help rural students understand how to utilize that and take advantage of that, because I think it's awesome that college, or not College Board, Common App added that, and I think that's a untapped resource, or at least underused resource. So I like that shadowing idea, and I'm just kind of piggybacking off of that.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
I
Yes.
think too, in line with that is also, from the college perspective, thinking about, and I know the STARS institutions are really focused on this, but thinking about how are our like our honors college applications and our things like that for very specific programs, how are they perceived by rural students? I know my own child, when he was applying for one of the honor colleges, there was a question about what summer research projects did you participate in, and he was like, well, I haven't done any of that, And I said, but you still can apply. He was like, I don't, he almost didn't apply, and he ended up getting in, but he almost didn't apply because the question was very geared towards what extra summer academic and research type activities have you had. And students don't often think, well, having a summer job or participating in a local, camp through your school system is still a summer academic activity. It doesn't have to be something huge. So thinking about how those things are worded, from the college perspective is really important.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Antoine, are you about to say something, sir?
Hey,
No, I was
if
just
I
gonna say,
can,
go ahead.
oh,
No, go ahead,
no,
Kevin.
go ahead, Antoine. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to say maybe and this might take uh, when you mentioned collaborating, um, but also kind of meeting students where they are in a sense, maybe a lunch and learn, and it will take a little bit more, like, again, coordination when it comes to the colleges and some of the more rural areas, or rural high schools, but. One of my friends, Kaylee Havens at Kings Ridge, she has a lunch and learn where the colleges are not wearing any of their apparel. So the students are oblivious to what school that they're speaking with during those lunch and learns. So that way they're more free to ask questions because typically, I think that many students where when I'm visiting these rural areas, I think sometimes have a fear, because they know certain students are getting into our institutions, um, while others are not. So there's a fear of feeling stupid or asking the wrong questions. But to prevent that, let's just show that we're human. Just that we want them at our institutions, to have more candid conversations, and that way you're kind of bridging that gap between a wide variety of institutions and giving students that space to be free with their thoughts, and that in turn helps them apply to some of these institutions that, they really might not see themselves attending, but also opening them up to other possibilities as well, simply because they're not seeing us as our institutions, but they're seeing us for our programs and what's offered. And it does not have to be a large group, but even if it's just kind of some of these smaller group lunch and learns, first come, first serve to sign up, but just a way to again connect us as a whole.
Thank you. Okay. That's a great idea. That is a big feat, but that's a great idea. And maybe we can do something with that. Maybe. Antoine, I know you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so going back to the somebody mentioned something about having a shadow day. Maybe we could use like stars funds to help with transportation to get the students to, where they needed to go for the prospective shadow days type of thing. I think that'd be something we might be able to do as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Probably something to add to that. Alumni groups, they do like mini college nights or something like that in towns and stuff like that. Maybe we can flip it. Bring kind of like a mini university campus to those specific towns and have like people from financial aid, housing, maybe specific programs, student life, to give them a better picture of what the college campus is going to look like. So maybe kind of like a mini college night kind of deal. Make them feel important. And then they'll probably ask questions once they know that others in the room are asking certain questions and stuff like that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right. Those were everyone came up with some great collaborative ideas. I love them and it's all student focused. Some of them seem like they can be done quickly, and others seem like they're going to be on a strategic plan type of timeline. Either way it goes, they are very great thoughts, and thank you so much for adding those because those are some great things. Like I do believe maybe SACAC can tack on to do like even the lunch and learn, maybe like we just did this right here with us. Maybe we could do something like a lunch and learn through SACAC for our SIG group where we find a some type of decent hour for all of the states that could participate and have classrooms sign on and just talk to some of the colleges because we have an array amount of colleges within SACAC and we can do like maybe break rooms where they could go into like the different types of compartments in those little breakout rooms. Either way it goes, these are all great ideas. Thank you so much. Sorry about that, talking too much. Would anyone else like to share as it is 15 minutes till, and I just have three more things to share with you before we log on off. Any other sharing ideas? No. All right. Well, I will say this right here. I leaned into the silence, but I do want to say when it comes to our some small things we can do. Jeremy helped me try to pilot this past fall and spring with a student where we're trying to get that student board running. So I will be sending out a Google form through SACAC to see if we can get, a nice little board of like about 7 to 10 students together that will work with the SACAC leagues of this, of course, SIG to see if we could get that student voice started running and being heard. Another resource that we're going to come on and pull out is we're going to have not only just do we have a contact sheet, so I do want you to know I have a contact sheet of everyone who said that they are would like to be a part of this SIG, but then also past people who may have attended. And what I'll do is we have a resource, the resource Excel sheet that is broken down into like what I was just talking about on that first slide. What is for students and families? What is for counselors? And then scholarship opportunities. So that we cannot gatekeep and share this information to everyone about like what are some of the scholarships that are available not only in the state of Georgia but also in the state of Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and even in the U.S. Virgin Islands and or Puerto Rico. But what are some scholarships that you can be telling your students about as well, so that they don't have to do too much digging, even though they're still going to have to dig for other scholarships. I just so those are some things that you will also be they'll be coming out as well. Just give you a heads up. As I go back to sharing, let's talk a little bit about. So I just want to make what just happened? Can everybody see me? I just want to make sure you can see.
Yeah, you're all good. We
The
can see.
screen. I can see your slide.
Awesome. Long as you can see my slide. Okay, great. So just to share, we just talked a little bit about collaboration, and I do want to let you know, like when it came to some of the things that we collaborated on at SACAC was literally what we just talked about. One of those questions that was posed is, while many rural students express a desire to attend college, financial barriers, lack of role models, and fewer college recruiters visiting rural schools limit their options. And so we just talked about like that student voice and different ways that we could get some of these barriers knocked off, but getting to reach the students within those areas that don't have the summer research internships or don't have the capacity to be able to go to where some of these colleges and universities are located. Another thing that we collaborated on was many high achieving rural students leave for urban areas and do not return, reducing the local workforce development. And when we talk about that again, like I said, that is that junior shadow day. That is something that we were like, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's expand on that junior shadow day a little bit. And that's what we just to help because I feel like when a student sees something while they're in high school, then they go off to college, but they may come back during the summers or get a co-op or internship to come back every summer. And with that being said, that allows that student to what? Again, be able to come back home and see that they can still work and have development in those areas. So as we move forward, I want to talk a little bit about see you soon. So, what are some conferences that are coming up? These, I do not have their locations. I just have their dates, but you can definitely go find their locations. But some things that are happening with SACAC, you have your Sweet Tea Tour, Summer Seminar, you have Dry Run. Nationally, you have GWI, which is guiding the way to impact, as well as NACAC. Now, College Board has a forum that's really informative, and also College Board is starting to talk about our space as well. So they're starting to talk about rural populations and wanting to hear more presentations and give out more data about it if you want to go to the forum. You also have Dream Deferred. Now that's all next year, but you have Dream Deferred and SACAC of next year. And I really hope that we get to see you in Mobile, Alabama next year. It is going to be in April. Now, I don't know what's going on, but April's always, it's not going to conflict with Easter if anyone celebrates, but it will maybe have some scheduling conflicts with EOS. It's end of year testing, any of the school's milestone tests, or whatever testing that has to be done in your school system. Um, but we would still love to see you there. So please make sure you like try to tell your superintendents and your principals about this to see if we can merge you into this because your voice is to be heard if you are on the secondary side of education, as well as even as colleges trying to get the students to college at that time. But that is what we have when it comes to some upcoming conferences. Again, I stress, let's talk about making a difference, get involved. So when it comes to SAC we have, again, we need you within these co-lead roles in special interest groups, but there's also roles that are available out there that you can get involved, whether it's volunteering at a conference or volunteering at maybe a sweet tea tour or a summer seminar. There's several ways for you to get involved and be accessible. We have a board member right now on this conference call, Miss Kimberly. She's on the call right now. So you do have, I'm sorry about that, guys. We do have those opportunities for you to be able to get involved. And you see people that are not only involved on a board level, but then also still being involved in the lower areas of involvement, whether it's a SIG and or just coming to listen to us. She is not here to patrol me, I promise you. She's just here to listen and learn more about rural areas. Uh, before Kim, would you like Miss Kimberly, doctor, she just finished her EDD. She's a doctorate now. So, Dr. Kimberly, would you like to say anything from the board?
As that slide say, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, I'm speaking on behalf of myself. Um, I just thank y'all for coming. There are so many great ways to get involved in SATCAC. So if you're looking for something, if you just want to kind of dip your toe in the water, there are some things that don't require as much time. But if you have more time to give, we would love to have you fill in some of those larger roles to take more time. So if you have any questions about what involvement looks like, feel free to reach out. I can drop my email in the chat in case you had any questions. But yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you. All righty. And then the last thing I have to say, because I have taken up a lot of your time, thank you so much for being here with me, is the last thing that I want to say to you is going to be you made it. Again, I just keep saying that. We made it past May 1st. End of year testing. Oh, kids are almost out of the door, counting days. Graduation season is here. And again, if you know of anybody who wants to still join, tell them to join, regardless, your superintendents, your principals, your counselors, your math teacher, your social studies teacher, anyone can join our SIG. Have them join as well as we need you. I need help. So please make sure that I get some help. If what I did today interests you and you're like, oh, I could work with her, I promise I'm very easygoing. I'm not too bad. Go ahead and think about applying to be a co-lead of this SIG. That is all for today. I didn't give you much of your time back, but I finished within 5 minutes of this presentation. So thank you so much for joining us. I will give you more. Please stay connected through social media and, of course, the email. Keep it updated to learn when we will meet again. Hopefully, sometime in the fall, we will meet again. And then the next time we meet as a face-to-face body will be in Mobile, Alabama. And then we'll have one last virtual meeting to do the recap for what happened at SACAC 2027. With that being said, again, congratulations. You all, thank you so much for giving me this time during this time of your time with me today. If there are no questions, you are more than welcome to log off. I will stay on for a couple of minutes if just anyone wants to ask me any questions, and or if you just want to probe my brain.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later, Jeremy. See you. Bye, guys.
Christina,
Yes. Yes, Jason.
uh, I would I would like to join this SIG, so I don't know what I need to do. This is so if you got my information, you probably got my email address and all that stuff. So I would like to stay connected.
You would like to, okay. How did you tell me really quickly? How were you able to join this meeting? Did I send you an email?
Uh, I'm a SACAC member, so I found it on the website.
Oh, I don't know. Why am I giving you a hard time? Hold on 1 minute. Let me share my screen really quickly. You see this
Okay.
QR code?
Yeah.
Scan
Uh,
that QR code for me.
okay. Let me, yeah, hold on. Okay. Okay.
And fill that form out. It should give you the,
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. I will fill this out and I will send it back to you.
and then really quickly, though, let me get just some info. Give me your email address.
It's all lowercase, so it's Stockbridge, just like the town right outside of Atlanta. Um, and yes, there is a story there. Yes, that is my family. So, but anyway, oh
Cool.
yeah, yeah, strange. Anyway, not going down that path.
Okay.
Anyway, so lowercase dash, Stockbridge dash J at mssu.edu. So there's two S's.
Okay. And all righty. So once you, they're gonna send me your information. I just got it just in case they don't, because I don't want to
Okay.
uh not include you in
Right.
any of our meetings. But that is how once you fill out that form, they'll send it to me, and then that's how you'll stay connected with us.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've been doing rural stuff here and I just saw it pop up and I'm just like, yeah, this might give me some more things that I can do here in Missouri. So, but anyway, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Now,
but yeah.
are you a regional person or are you in Missouri?
All right. So, so I'm regionally based. So I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm in charge of, so I travel in Oklahoma. Um, and then I'm in charge of applications that come out of Alaska, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, skip over Arkansas. And then I have Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You understand this.
Yes.
You
Yes,
get
I
it.
do.
Yeah. You get it. But, yeah, I went to Lander University in Greenwood, South
Okay.
Carolina. And
Yes, yes.
then I did 2.5 years with AmeriCorps, and then I got my master's from Appalachian State. So yeah, I'm a happy appy from Boone.
Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes. Okay, nice. All right.
Yeah.
So,
So,
oh yeah. Hmm.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to being a part of the SIG and stuff like that to learn some new tricks and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was very informative. Informative. So, and thank you for being welcoming. I know it's a little weird, when people, when they say he's in Missouri, this is not the ACAC. No, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm a member of so many ACACs. It's nuts.
Because you got so many recruiting territories. Yes,
Well,
I
yeah,
understand.
and SACAC I didn't know about until I think about the second or third year in. I think this is like the third year that I've been a member. I didn't know about SACAC. I knew about TACAC, and I'm a member of JPACAC, so I've been highly involved in JPACAC. Um, and then the Arizona and New Mexico one is a little weird. It's a little strange, um, but you know, they every ACAC has their own little clique and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
That is true. It's true.
But yeah, SACAC has been more than welcoming. And then it's like when people hear me, it's like when I say that my school's in Missouri, I live in Tulsa, but I sound like you don't belong here. And I'm like, yeah, that you're
I-
pretty much you're almost correct.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, so how long have you been at Georgia Tech?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, oh man.
I was in a couple of other institutions, one of them being in South Carolina, before I came over to Georgia Tech.
Where in South Carolina?
Aiken. I was at
Aiken.
USC Aiken.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, horse country.
Yes, that's exactly
Yes.
what it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know about Aiken. Oh my God, there's some great places to eat downtown down there. I
There
love
are.
Aiken. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually coming through. Oh, in Atlanta, my wife doesn't understand this, but I do, because my dad was the city and county planning director in Athens, but my dad's from Savannah. So yeah, I'm half Georgian. So, but anyway, um, it's the varsity. I'm big on the varsity, or in South Carolina, our version is Rush's. So I don't know
Okay.
if you're, yeah.
Yes,
Yep,
I do.
yep, you got it. Yep. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, my wife and I I'm coming home next week. So
I'm glad you're coming
yeah,
home.
well, my mom still lives in Sumter. So yeah, I'm from Sumter. So yeah, so we travel. Yeah. But
Makes sense. Okay.
anywho,
Yeah.
but thank you. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah, it was great. And thank you for being so welcoming.
Yes, definitely. I hope to see you again.
Yes.
All
Yeah, I hope
right.
so too. Have a good
Talk to
week.
you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.